It is no exaggeration to say that when Troy Tulowitzki first came up with the Rockies, he had the potential to be one of the greatest shortstops to ever play the game. He performed very well on the field, and off the field his signature jump throw was being imitated by thousands of kids. He was a bona fide superstar. However, here we are 12 years later, and Troy Tulowitzki just announced his retirement at only 34 years old. So, what happened? What's going on, everybody? It's Dawson, and I've had a different video in the works for a few weeks now, but with Troy Tulowitzki's recent retirement announcement, I thought it would be a good idea to look back on what was one of baseball's brightest young stars, his MLB career, what went wrong, and what his chances are looking like for making the Hall of Fame. Let's get started. Coming out of high school, Troy Tulowitzki was highly touted as one of the best prospects in the state of California. During his senior year at Fremont High School, Tulowitzki showed phenomenal potential with his hitting and fielding abilities, and wound up playing college ball at Long Beach State for 3 seasons. Tulo's excellent play at Long Beach State had him projected to go early in the draft, and he was picked up by the Colorado Rockies 7th overall. As soon as Tulowitzki was drafted, there was a lot of hype around the new Rockies shortstop and the team as a whole. At the time, the Rockies were still a very young franchise looking to make their mark on the league. The team was formed in 1993, and despite one playoff appearance in 1995 where they were immediately trampled by the Braves, the team had nothing to show after 13 full seasons in Colorado. However, with recent draft selections and rookie outfielder Matt Holliday bursting onto the scene, things were starting to look up. Tulowitzki quickly moved his way through the minors despite a knee injury that kept him out of action for a slight amount of time during June 2006. He was still able to make the Rockies roster late that year at only 21 years old. Tulo only played 25 games at the end of the year, but he was here to stay on the Rockies roster for good. And that following season, the Colorado Rockies had the best season they have ever had in franchise history. Led by 22-year-old Troy Tulowitzki and an MVP caliber season by Matt Holliday, the Rockies went on a late season run, winning 21 of their last 22 games, and the Rockies were headed to the World Series for the first time in franchise history. And we all know how that series went. But for the next few years, Colorado was going to be a serious contender if they made the right moves. They didn't. With many moves that really only made the team worse, the team fell into a level of mediocrity only dreamed of by the Pirates. In contract negotiations, the Rockies seriously undervalued Matt Holliday and then immediately traded him to the A's. First round draft picks Christian Friedrich, Casey Weathers, and Greg Reynolds all turned out to be busts, and pitching development was non-existent. Even with their pitching woes, the Rockies still managed to put up a decent record year after year. Troy Tulowitzki and Carlos Gonzalez were the ones carrying the load, and both were awarded massive contract extensions during the 2010 offseason. Although the Rockies didn't do a great job of putting a team around Tulo, he was still performing at a high level. In 2009, 2010, and 2011, he finished top 10 in MVP voting, became a 2-time All-Star, won 2 Gold Gloves, and 2 Silver Sluggers. It looked like one day Tulowitzki would be destined for Cooperstown, but then he went down. On May 30th, 2012, during a doubleheader against the Houston Astros, Tulowitzki tore his left groin and he would miss the rest of the season. Up to this point in his career, Tulo only had minor injuries that would cost him to miss a few games, but usually no longer than a week. But ever since he got called up, those minor injuries have been adding up, and now Tulo had to go under the knife. Sadly, it wouldn't be the last time. In June 2013, in a game against the Nationals, Tulowitzki dove for a ball at the middle and then landed on his right ribs and fractured them. Just 1 year later, Tulo re-injured his left hip and had to undergo labral repair surgery. And just to be clear, during the seasons in Colorado where he was constantly injured, Troy Tulowitzki was still hitting amazing. His OPS in 2014 was the best he has ever had in his career, and he was an All-Star in 2013, 14, and 15. However, when Tulowitzki came back from his left groin injury in 2013, something was off. The way he played just seemed different. His speed that used to be a valuable tool for him was almost gone on the base pass. He went from 20 stolen bases to just 1 in 2013. Not to mention his range factor also continued its steady decline. But besides all of that, a contending Toronto Blue Jays team needed a shortstop, so they traded for him. This was truly the beginning of the end for Tulowitzki. Many sports writers and fans, including myself at the time, thought the Rockies were fleeced in this trade. We believed Tulo could be the Tulo of old, I mean, that same year he was an all-star, but Tulowitzki's numbers took a massive dip as soon as he came to Toronto, and his decline truly started to show. Of course, a dip in his numbers were going to be expected, due to the switch between AL and NL, and he was no longer playing in Hitters Heaven Coors Field. However, it should be noted that Toronto is still a very hitter-friendly park to right-handed batters. Tulo's splits between home and away while he was with the Rockies were not that drastic. At least his splits weren't as bad as Charlie Blackmon's. The 2015 Blue Jays ended up making it to the ALCS that year before they fell to the Royals, and the following year they made it back to the ALDS. But after 2016, it looked like it could be over for Tulowitzki entirely. His declining hitting and fielding numbers raised questions about how much longer he could be a bid lead starting shortstop, and then he went down again. In a July game against the Angels, the side of Tulowitzki's foot hit CJ Cron's foot at first base, and an MRI revealed ligament damage in his right ankle. Tulo would have to undergo surgery in April 2018 to work on bone spurs in both of his heels. This meant he would miss the entire 2018 season, and then the Blue Jays released him. When the news came out of Tulowitzki's surgery, many former teammates of his showed support for him to get through this injury, while at the same time believing that this could be the end of the road for him. Dexter Fowler was quoted saying, "He works his butt off, which can be his downfall too. He wants to do well so bad. He loves the game so much that he puts all that into it. It can be a gift and a curse. I know he wants to get back out there from all the injuries, but sometimes you gotta throttle the other way." Tulowitzki refused to be done. He worked his way back and got his dream, playing shortstop for the New York Yankees. Although it was a very short-lived dream, Tulo enjoyed every moment of it. After a few games, Tulowitzki's body gave up on him, and he knew it was time to call it a career. As for the Hall of Fame, Tulowitzki likely won't make it in. Although he technically had over a 10-year career, he missed a lot of time during it, and the dip in numbers after leaving Coors won't help him out either. Although he won't end up in Cooperstown, myself and fans around the world still remember him as the generational talent he was in Colorado. He was a player you could look up to. He always worked hard no matter the obstacles thrown at him. And I'll always remember doing unnecessary jump throws at practice with my teammates while yelling Tulo across the diamond. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like the video, and if you're new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're creeping up on 40,000. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Tulo should be a Hall of Famer? Or what are some of your favorite Tulowitzki memories? Be sure to put those in the comments below. But thank you all again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
Yeah, I love her off. Said she love me, but she cut me off. Yeah, late nights on the boulevard. Hidden stains on an empty heart, yeah. I love her off. Said she love me, but she cut me off. Yeah, late